without, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depths of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Indeed, Robi Thakur's prayer for his country and for mankind defines time and eternity. Good evening. Distinguished guests, Honourable Consul General, friends and family, my name is Suparna Chatterjee and I will be your Master of Ceremony for tonight. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on, the Whadjuk Noongar people. I wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. Quintessentially, a Bengali poet and a writer, Robi Thakur remains an altogether exceptional literary figure, towering over all others with his poems, songs, novels, plays, short stories, critical essays, and many more. His influence on the Bengali writing is gigantic. He transformed Bangla language and essentially formed the modern day look and feel of now. In many ways, his writing not only reshaped and reconstructed the language for us, but also made an amazingly powerful influence on our identity as a Bengali. We all got introduced to this remarkable, versatile man in our childhood, and we continue to explore his wide field of work as we each make our own journey through life. His work captures all occasions, sentiments, and moments of life that we feel in our mortal living. Even in the current challenging days of pandemic, being homebound, we seek refuge in him and his immortal creations. We are grateful to the Consulate General of India in Perth for hosting the 161st birth anniversary of Gurudev. The CGI Perth has not only helped us with a range of consular services, but has also augmented cultural and economic relations between our country of origin and our choice of living. Their ongoing support and cooperation to help us host and celebrate occasions as today helps us to recreate the magic of our country and culture abroad. To begin tonight, may I call upon the Acting Honourable Consul General, Mr. Naresh Sharma, and from BAWA, Mr. Suparna Chatterjee, to light the candles. Thank you so much for that. If I may now ask the Honourable Consul General to come and spare a few words for us. Thank you.
Namaskar, and thank you all of you who have come here. First of all, I would like to pay my tributes to the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting today, and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. 18th and 19th century saw in India emergence of quite a few what we call in Hindi Mahapurush. So one such Mahapurush was Rabindrajayanti Tagore. He was one amongst a big family. They had a big family, and all of the brothers, they were all masters in one field or another. They were writers, painters, and in religion, in other, even they were in magic also, I have read. So they were practicing all sorts of arts that traditionally have been in India. Rabindranath is particularly known for his book Gitanjali, for which he got Nobel Prize. I think it was in 1911 or 14, somewhere, 30. Yeah. So that was first Indian, and I think for more than half a century he remained the only Indian to have received Nobel Prize. Rabindranath is also has distinguished, for giving us our national anthem, Jan Gan Man. And not only that, the national anthem of Bangladesh, that's also written by him, Amar Sonar Bangladesh. Another Mahapurush that we saw last century was Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi, the word Mahatma was given to him the title by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. And Mahatma Gandhi gave the title Gurudev to Rabindranath Tagore. That's what many people don't know. So they were good friends, and both excelled in their particular field, whichever they worked. We have read about his poems. One of the poems in my book of English was the one which was just spoken by the MC, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. So I had that paper here, but since she has already so eloquently spoken that poem, so I think I would not like to repeat it. So I will not take much time, and will proceed further for the program. Thank you, all of you, for coming here.
Our tribute tonight, Robi Thakur Loho Pranam, includes the young and mature members of our community coming together in a very short period of time to pay their respect. May I now call upon stage the following participants for tonight. For vocal, Somodorshi, more popularly called Dodo. Aritra, we call him Riju. Durba, Dipa. And I don't know if you have been introduced to an instrument. This instrument is very popular in both eastern states and northern India. And it's called khol. On khol, we have got Anup. We have got a wonderful combination for our dancers. One who is still not completed the primary school in year 3, Shreya. And mother of 2 beautiful boys, Paromita. To bring it all together for recitation, we're going to hear Debbani. So can I ask Debbani to be on stage? I can then hand it over. You put that hand. We lovingly call him Robi Thakur. Thakur means God. And yet, our admiration and respect for this mere mortal keeps growing over the years, no matter when and where we live across the globe. Many Bengalis will share a common childhood memory of having seen multiple volumes of his work shelved with love. Not all may have been read, yet the desire to read remains, along with a regular homage paid with a bowed head and incense stick in hand, of folding hands in the gesture of a pranam to his portrait that is hanging slightly off-centered from an iron peg which remains lodged over years in our lightly cracked, whitewashed walls of a middle-class home. Publishing from a tender age of 7, Bhanu Singh was the adopted pen name by young Rabindranath. He was attracted to the Moithili poems and hugely inspired by ancient poets. He was in his teens still when he composed Bhanu Singher Padaboli, seeking a divine connection, dedicating these compositions to his sister-in-law, Kadambari Devi.
गहन कुसुम कुंज माज मृदुल मधुर वंशी बाज विसरी त्रास लोक लाज सजनी आओ आओ लो गहन कुसुम कुंज माज मृदुल वंशी बाज विसरी
The conventional tradition of his family expected him to make a career in law, he imagined an alternative educational system, and of his many timeless accomplishments, Shantiniketan remains to be the jewel in his crown. Here, children learn sitting cross-legged under shady trees, looking up at floating clouds and listening to birds call. Knowledge is gained through 360-degree dimension. While learning occurs not just following a prevalent convention of coming from top, it also incorporates a more contemporary view of learning from the peers, that is, from each other, and then takes it furthermore with a more confronting view of learning from those below, either in age or power. This made a significant breakthrough in the traditional learning curve, where it was perceived to be a torch of enlightenment passed from the top to below. I had to take a break from my script. Rabindranath was the first ever born non-European to win a Nobel Prize for his poetry collection called Gitanjali. An unsatiated desire to creation kept him going. Despite over 2,000 songs in his repertoire, he humbly says, "I have spent many days stringing and unstringing my instrument while the song I came to sing remained unsung." For him, the most important lesson that mankind could learn from their mortal life is not that there is pain associated with living, but that it is possible to transcend this pain and suffering and glide into an eternal joy, as man has in him the silence of the sea, the noise of the earth, and the music of the air. He believed divinity resides in us all. "You are mine." The world kept it prisoner on her throne. Love said to the world, "I am thine." The world gave it the freedom of her house. Kavi Guru believed in love that emancipates, gives freedom, and does not claim possession.
কৃষ্ণকলি আমি তারে বলি,
কৃষ্ণকলি আমি তারেই বলি, কালো তারে বলে গাঁয়ের লোক।
কালো তারে বলে গায়ের লোক।
মেঘলা দিনে দেখেছিলেন মাঠে,
মেঘলা দিনে দেখেছিলেন মাঠে,
কালো মেঘ কালো হরিণ চোখ।
কালো মেঘ কালো হরিণ চোখ।
ঘোমটা মাথায় ছিল না তার মোটে,
ঘোমটা মাথায় ছিল না তার মোটে,
মুক্ত বেনি পিঠের পরে লোটে।
মুক্ত বেনি পিঠের পরে লোটে।
কালো তা সে যতই কালো হোক,
তা সে যতই কালো হোক,
দেখেছি তার কালো হরিণ চোখ।
দেখেছি তার কালো হরিণ চোখ। কৃষ্ণকলি আমি তারে বলি, ঘন মেঘে আধার হলো দেখে,
ঘন মেঘে আঁধার হলো দেখে, ডাকতে ছিল শ্যামল দুটি গায়।
ডাকতে ছিল শ্যামল দুটি গায়ে।
শ্যামা মেয়ে ব্যস্ত ব্যাকুল পদে,
শ্যামা মেয়ে ব্যস্ত ব্যাকুল পদে,
কুটির হতে ত্রস্ত এলো তাই।
কুটির হতে ত্রস্ত এলো তাই।
আকাশ পানে হানি যুগল ভুরু,
আকাশ পানে হানি যুগল ভোরু,
শুনলে বারেক মেঘের গুরু গুরু।
শুনলে বারেক মেঘের গুরু গুরু।
কালো তা সে যতই কালো হোক,
তা সে যতই কালো হোক,
দেখেছি তার কালো হরিণ চোখ।
দেখেছি তার কালো হরিণ চোখ।
কৃষ্ণকলি আমি তারেই বলি।
A vast majority of his compositions that have tested the harsh reality of time centers around divinity, merged with profound love for nature. Tagore and his compositions will continue to be remain seated in our heart and soul even after 160 years, and we will continue to celebrate his values of life through his compositions.
আজি হতে শতবর্ষ পরে কে তুমি পড়িছ বসি আমার কবিতাখানি কৌতূহল ভরে। আজি হতে শতবর্ষ পরে, আজি নব বসন্তের প্রভাতের আনন্দের লেশ মাত্র ভাব। আজিকার কোনো ফুল বিহঙ্গের কোনো গান, আজিকার কোনো রক্তরাগ অনুরাগে সিক্ত করি পারিব কি পাঠাইতে তোমাদের করে। আজি হতে শতবর্ষ পরে, তবু তুমি একবার খুলিয়া দক্ষিণ দ্বার বসি বাতায়নে, সুদূরী দিগন্তে চাহি কল্পনায় অবগাহী। ভেবে দেখো মনে একদিন শতবর্ষ আগে, চঞ্চল পুলক রাশি কোন স্বর্গ হতে ভাসি নিখিলের মর্মে আসি লাগে। নবীন ফাল্গুন দিন সকল বন্ধনহীন উন্মত্ত অধীন, ফুরায়ে চঞ্চল পাখা পুষ্পরেণু গন্ধ মাখা দক্ষিণ সমীর। সহসা আসিয়া তরা রাঙাইয়ে দিয়েছে ধরা যৌবনের রাগে তোমাদের শতবর্ষ আগে। সেদিন নূতনা প্রাণীর হৃদয় মগ্ন গানে কবি এক জাগে, কত কথা পুষ্প প্রায় বিকশি তুলিতে চাই কত অনুরাগে। একদিন শতবর্ষ আগে, আজি হতে শতবর্ষ পরে, এখন করিছে গান সে কোন নতুন কবি তোমাদের ঘরে। আজিকার বসন্তের আনন্দ অভিবাদন পাঠায়ে দিলাম তার করে। আমার বসন্ত গান তোমার বসন্ত দিনে ধ্বনিত হোক ক্ষণতরে। হৃদয় স্পন্দনে তব ভ্রমর গুঞ্জনে নব পল্লব মর্মরে। আজি হতে শতবর্ষ পরে।
মহাবিশ্বে মহাকাশে মহাকাল মাঝে, মহাবিশ্বে মহাকাশে মহাকাল মাঝে, আমি মানব একাকী রমি বিস্ময়ে রমি বিস্ময়ে। মহাবিশ্বে মহাকাশে মহাকাল মাঝে, তুমি আছো বিশ্বনাথ অসীম রহস্য মাঝে। তুমি আছো বিশ্বনাথ অসীম রহস্য মাঝে, নীরবে কাকি আপন মহিমা নিলয়ে। মহাবিশ্বে মহাকাশে মহাকাল মাঝে, অনন্ত এ দেশকালে অগণ এ নিত্য লোকে। অনন্ত এ দেশকালে অগণ এ নিত্য লোকে। তুমি আছো মোরে চাহে, আমি চাহে তোমা পানে। স্তব্ধ সর্ব কোলাহল শান্তি মগ্ন চরাচর। স্তব্ধ সর্ব কোলাহল শান্তি মগ্ন চরাচর। একো তুমি তোমা মাঝে, আমি একা নির্ভয়ে। মহাবিশ্বে মহাকাশে মহাকাল মাঝে, মহাবিশ্বে মহাকাশে মহাকাল মাঝে।
Kaviguru, Gurudev, Vishwakovi, he was a poet, he was an artist, he was a painter, but above all, a true philosopher. Quite poignantly he says, when you came to this world, you cried, and everybody smiled with joy. But when you go, do smile, and smile wide, and let the world cry for you. He believed that death belongs to life, as birth is a deliberate stroll of mankind through the garden of life, raising each foot before laying one down.
আমি চিনি গো চিনি তোমারে
moments how the fragrance of his living presence crowns the infinity of his kaleidoscopic creations. His poems and songs helps us to focus on life's fulfillment, helping us through the range of obstacles that come our way. His short stories, novels, plays, articles, literary criticisms, memoirs, dance dramas, books for children, both published and unpublished anthology of letters, makes us to wonder about this enigma, to think of him essentially as a romantic poet, speaking of beauty and truth, maybe to define him as a transcendentalist, a believer in the absolute, or a propagandist for universal man, or maybe even as a national icon. However, the core to many of his creation remains poised with a fine balance between mortal love gradually transcending to the eternal. And now, a song, Mere din dhal jaye, saaj ho jaye. Amar Bela je jaye, saaj belate, tomar shure shure shur melate.
আমার বেলা যে যায় সাজ বেলাতে তোমার সুরে সুরে সুর বেলাতে আমার বেলা যে যায় সাজ বেলাতে তোমার সুরে সুরে সুর বেলাতে আমার বেলা যে যায় मेरा दिन ढल जाए साज हो आए तेरे सुर ही सुर में सुर जो मिले मेरा दिन ढल जाए एक तार की एक ही तार में दर्द भरी धूल सद ना पाए एक तार की एक ही तार में दर्द भरी धूल सद ना पाए तेरे पास में बारे ही बार हार मानी इस खेले में तेरे सुर ही सुर में सुर जो मिले আমার বেলা যে যায় সাজ বেলাতে তোমার সুরে সুরে সুর বেলাতে আমার বেলা যে যায় এ তার বাধা কাছের সুরে ওই বাঁশি যে বাজে দূরে আমার এ তার বাধা কাছের সুরে ওই বাঁশি যে বাজে দূরে গানের লীলাগার সেই কিনারে যোগ দিতে কি সবাই পারে বিশ্ব হৃদয় পাড়ামারে রাগরাগিনীর ওই জল ফেলাতে তোমার সুরে সুরে সুর বেলাতে আমার বেলা যে যায় সাজ বেলাতে তোমার সুরে সুরে সুর বেলাতে আমার বেলা যে যায়
We remain awestruck at his prowess. We worship his ability to transcend the borders and boundaries. We admire his multicultural concern, his patriotism, his stellar role as an ambassador of universal human understanding. His recognition of the world, not merely as storehouse of power, but as a habitation of man's spirit. His genius in setting to human versatility in style that is both timeless and universal. We bow to him and to his creative genius. He had in him a great calm, a generous detachment, a selfless love, a disinterested effort, and as he found peace in himself, he spread it with a selfless ease of comfort, making his compositions our anchor over generations. We ask him to guide us through the tempestuous nights. His songs make us shine brightly on glorious morning, and when our heart soils in love, Kobi Guru, Loho Pranam.
একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে ডাক শুনে কেউ না চলো একলা চলো রে তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to an end to Loho Pranam. I know you guys have been waiting to give that big applause, so please, give it a Just couldn't resist the temptation of saying, আমি ছেড়েই দিতে রাজি আছি সুসভ্যতার আলোক আমি চাই না হতে নববঙ্গের নবযুগের চালক আমি নাইবা গেলাম বিলাত নাইবা পেলাম রাজার খিলাত যদি পরজন্মে পাইরে হতে ব্রজের গোপ বালক তবে নিভিয়ে দেব নিজের ঘরে সুসভ্যতার আলোক Only Tagore can make us to wish to give up this contemporary life, our modern tech, the cameras, the mobile, just to embrace that idyllic bliss. On behalf of the Bengali Association of WA, I would like to thank the Honourable Acting Consul General, Mr. Naresh Sharma, thank you so much. Mrs. Rafi Paramu, and all your team members who's helped us to set up the table and everything else, thank you so much. We're indebted to you. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to our own association, Bengali Association of Western Australia, most fondly called BAWA, for their ongoing effort in celebrating the art and culture of Bangla and inspiring Bangaliana within the community. A great example of how Tagore influences generations of Bengali over the years, no matter where they reside across the globe, was evident in tonight's participation. This little fellow has been sitting cross-legged on the floor for about an hour, so thank you, Somodorshi, Dodo. A big thanks to this little guy who's been sitting so quietly over the period. To Shreya. And to Aritra. The reason I mentioned their names before anybody else, because this is the reason why I suppose we do these sort of things, to pass the torchlight on to our next generation. So thank you all. Would like to thank Anup for aptly accompanying the vocalist. His magic fingers on the call. Like I said, it is a vocal instrument that usually is used in the eastern and northern states of India, mostly with the Bhakti Gitis. Vocalist of the evening, the wonderful, wonderful Durba and Dipa. Your rendition of the songs of Tagore will remain with us for a long time. Thank you. Thank you both. And thanks Aritra again for this time, even though you got to mention before. Dancers for the evening. How can we go past this two beautiful, can't call one a woman yet, but a woman in the build, pretty woman, Shreya and Paromita. Wonderful. You added your magic element to tonight's performance. Debbani's soulful recitation made us to achieve a sense of perfection that was just required for tonight. Goes without saying that there are always many more people who contribute selflessly to make a journey successful. And I have to mention these names, so bear with me. A couple more names and I promise you will stop hearing my voice for many, many years. To Siddharta for tonight's video, to Ashish for the photography and the video I know you've been taking. To Supriya for sound, thank you. I know you have a little one and yet you have given up the time. To Manoj for the lifelike portrait of Tagore that you see. The guy drew that last night, so thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks in the audience. Thank you, Manoj. To Shoumik and Arpita, they're the proud parents of Shreya. If you can just wave your hands. So they designed the flyer that was published on the website and was in our emails as well. And once again, to all the officials of CGI for hosting this event, our heartfelt gratitude and thanks. Drive safely home, everybody, and thanks again for this wonderful evening. You will remember it for a long time. Thank you.
We cannot finish this evening without thanking actually the most important person of this event, Suparna Chatterjee, who led us through the program, who actually made time out. to gather us all together in 24 hours, yeah, and we brought this up in actually one day. So a huge thank you to Suparna Chatterjee.
So you're actually Rajasthan, Gujarati. So you're from Ahmedabad.
So somewhere in social media that's today's birthday of Paromita.